Hello all. Today we are going to discuss the topic Newton's laws of motion, or it is simply written as NLM. Now we are going to discuss the topic inertia first. Inertia is the inability of the body to be in the state of rest or motion or in the same direction. That means if a particle is at rest, the particle will be continuously at rest, or the particle at motion will be continuously at motion. And if a car is going straight line, it will go on a straight line unless applied by an external force. That means inability of a body to be in state of rest, motion, or the same direction. Now, there are three types of inertia: inertia of rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of direction. Inertia of rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of direction. Now, the definitions are same lot of inertia, but there is a slight change. That is up to from inability to of the same. The formula is same, but for the rest we want to apply rest, and for the motion we want to apply motion, and for direction it is same unless an external force applied. Okay. Now we have discussed about inertia. Now there is a relationship between inertia and mass. Inertia, mass. Relation is dash. Now we have two bodies of masses. This is a one box and this is the second box. The first box is 3 kg block and the second block is 5 kg block, and we want to get the acceleration 1 meter per second square. Now we want to get the force. The force is F is equal to 3 and F is equal to 5. So as you see here, the shorter block requires shorter force and the greater block requires greater force. So inertia is directly proportional to force because here external force applied. So external force is 3 for this one, and external force is 5 for 5 kg block. So we can say that the heavier is the mass, the heavier is the inertia. So the more is the inertia. Okay? Proportional T. Now we have discussed about inertia. Then we are going to discuss about momentum. Momentum. The formula for momentum is P is equal to mv, and the SI unit is kg meter per second. Okay. Now this is the momentum formula and derivative and SI unit. We will discuss about momentum after reading Newton's second law and third law. Now we are going to discuss about Newton's laws. There are three laws, that is first law, second one is second law, and third is third law. Now the first law gives the same as what gives the inertia. Okay, we can say we can state first law as a body is in the state of rest or motion and of same direction. Unless external force is applied. Unless F external is 0, we can say shortcut. Okay, we have discussed Newton's first law. Newton's first law states that a body is in a state of rest or motion and of the same direction unless F external is 0. So, Newton's first law says that a body in rest will be at rest. A body in motion will be at motion. A body in the same direction will be at same direction unless and force is applied. Okay? The inertia also says the same. Okay? Okay, the same. Now we are going to discuss the Newton's second law. Newton's second law. Newton's second law. Newton's second law states that a body, the force, is directly proportional to the change in momentum with respect to time. F is directly proportional to dp by dt. It is Newton's second law states. Now we are going to derive the force formula. Here the formula of momentum is discussed here. It is mass into velocity. Okay, F is directly proportional to d into mv upon dt. Now there are two cases. If m is constant, force is directly proportional to m into dv upon dt. Okay, dv upon dt gives the acceleration. So force is directly proportional to mass into acceleration. We got the relationship is equal to force is equal to mass into acceleration. If v is constant, now we will F proportional to v into dm upon dt. It is the formula. We will apply this formula when we will discuss the mass per unit time formulas. Okay, we have completed Newton's second law statement and derivation of the force formula. Now we are going to discuss the impulse. impulse. Impulse gives the what force is acting on a body over a average time. Okay? It gives the average force. It gives the average force acting on the body over a small instant of time. Now the formula of its impulse is I is equal to F into delta T. This is the formula. Now we will compare the impulse and the momentum. Now we will get the formula. Now the formula is okay. Now I is equal to the formula of force is mass into acceleration. M into A into delta T. A into delta T gives M into delta V. I is equal to M into delta V. Here delta V means change in velocity. Here V represents the normal velocity. So we can get the impulse is equal to change in momentum. Impulse is equal to the change in momentum, that is the delta P. Okay, we have discussed the formulas. Now we are going to discuss in the graphical way. If F is constant, that is not variable, the graph is force and versus time. Now we will get the formula as the formula as I is equal to F into delta T. We will get the same formula. Now, if the force is variable, now the graph will impulse is the area covered. Use the area. Okay, students. Now we have discussed the impulse and the change in momentum. Next, we are going to discuss the Newton's third law. Before going to Newton's third law, I will explain Newton's second law. Now, Newton's second law states that force is directly proportional to dp by dt. As we know, the formula of momentum is mass into velocity. So we will apply it here. Okay. Now, if we want to derive the formulas, now if m is equal to constant, we will now the derivative of constant is 1. So we will get this, the term here on the front side, and dV by dt. Okay, dV upon dt. Now as from the kinematics, dV by dt is acceleration. So we get the force formula. Okay, and if velocity is constant, we will get V as at front and dm by dt. Okay, we have taken option to be into dm by dt. Now we have discussed about impulse. Impulse, it gives the average force acting on the body over an unit or a small unit of time. I is equal to F into time. And the formula for F is equal to M into A into delta T. Delta T here. And A into delta T gives delta V. So impulse is equal to change in momentum. Now there are graphical ways to find out the formula. If force is constant, we will draw the constant into change in time. If F force is variable, we will find out the area and we will solve. We will discuss the problem in the after discussing this concept. Okay. Now the Newton's third law. Newton's third law. Newton's third law. As we all know, the action is equal to opposite of reaction. It is the same. Action is equal to opposite of reaction. Now the basic term. Now we are going to discuss the that means we are going to discuss the characteristics of Newton's third law. Now it is applicable on every type of force. It applicable over all types of forces irrespective of the nature. The meaning is, now it applies on all the force. That means gravitational force, nuclear force, mechanical force, and electrostatic force, the nuclear, and so on. The forces available in the universe, it is applicable. Now the second characteristics is, it acts on two different bodies. It acts on two different bodies. Okay, the forces never cancel out each other. Forces never cancel out each other. Okay, we have completed the characteristics of the Newton's third law. Now, the Newton's third law states that action is equal to opposite of reaction. We all know from the childhood, that means 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Now, it is applicable over all types of forces irrespective of the nature. It's applicable for gravitational force. It's applicable for gravitational force, mechanical force, electrostatic force, nuclear force, and so on. Now it acts on two different bodies. It does not act on a single body. It acts on two bodies, two different bodies. Forces never cancel out each other because they are acting on two different bodies. Okay, students. Now we are going to discuss the conservation of momentum. Conservation of momentum. Okay students, now conservation of momentum. As from the Newton's second law, the force is proportional to dP upon dt. A conservation means the momentum is conserved. The momentum is conserved when the external force is equal to 0. dP by dt is 0. For instance, if external is 0, dP upon dt is 0. So momentum is constant. P is constant. So the sum of all forces, sum of all the momentum is constant. So P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus P4 plus and so on is constant. And we are going to discuss this case in the two problems. First is collision between two bodies, and second is collision between ball and wall. Okay, now we have discussed about conservation of momentum, and we have going to discuss the cases in collisions between two bodies and the collision between body and ball and wall. Okay, first we are going to discuss between two bodies. Collision between two balls. At the initial, they have the initial velocities u1 and u2. At the time of collision, you have the u1 dash, or it is the same velocity u2, m1, m2. And after collision, they move with the different velocities m1, m2, and this have v1 and v2. At the initial, P initial is equal to, it is the sum P1 plus P2. So m1 u1 plus m2 u2, and the P final, it is P1 plus P2. P final is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. As we have discussed, this is the conservation of momentum. So P initial is equal to P final. So m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So we have completed. Now we have got a formula for the collision between two balls using the conservation of momentum. Now I am going to explain again. There are two balls m1 and m2 having initial velocities u1 and u2, and they are at the collision state. They are collided. They have the same velocity, but after collision they have m1 with v1 and m2 with u2. According to conservation of momentum, p1 plus p2 is constant. So p initial is at the initial stage m1 u1 plus m2 u2. The final stage from the same formula, p initial is equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Now momentum is conserved. So P initial is equal to P final. So m1 u1 plus m2 u2 gives rise to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Now we have completed for the collision of two walls. Now we are going to discuss the collision between ball and wall in two cases. Okay, now we are going to discuss the collision between ball and wall. Sorry students. Collision. Body or ball and wall. Now there are two cases in which the ball hits an angle normal to that of the wall, and in other case the body hits the wall with an angle theta with the wall. It is the ball. Now we are going to divide into angles. That is with u. It is of the same velocity, collide and came back the same velocity. It is u sin theta. It is plus minus u sin theta. Now it is plus u cos theta and minus u cos theta. Now according this principle, these two will become cancel out. So delta P is equal to 2m u cos theta. We got the momentum. Now according to Newton's second law of motion, F is equal to delta P by delta T. It gives 2m u cos theta upon delta T. We got the force. Now for second case, it is cos theta, cos theta. Negative, here negative, here positive. And it is plus sin theta and minus sin theta. This both will become cancelled. So delta P is equal to 2 mu sin theta. And from force, delta P by delta T, that is 2 mu sin theta upon delta T. We got the answer. Okay students, now we have completed the law of conservation of momentum. Now we are going to discuss the another topic, or before going I will explain. Now we have discussed about collision between ball and wall. So in the first case, the ball hit the wall with an angle perpendicular to that of the wall, and in another case the body hits the wall along with an angle to the wall. Now it is plus u sin theta. Here if we divide it into in x-axis and y-axis, it is positive. So it is u sin theta, it is u cos theta, it is u sin theta, it is u cos theta. So these two will become cancelled according to this one. If we get the delta P from the both sides, we get the force. Okay.